Alex, Pat Garrett is such an American icon. Was there something about his story or maybe being a part of the Billy the Kid series or even legacy that made you want to take on this role?
I mean, yeah, I was a big fan of the Peckinpah movie, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. Watched that when I was a kid, and I liked the angle that that kind of went on, that they were friends, before Pat Garrett became a sheriff and had to hunt his friend down ultimately. So then when you read the pilot episode, and I love the story is this Irish immigrant story where they were promised XYZ when they came out to America, only to find that like they had to build it themselves. So I feel like, to have that as the basis of it, and to have Billy's backstory being kind of covered as far as his parents dying and him having to, make something of himself. And then into Pat Garrett, and that I really wanted to be a part of that cat and mouse, and to try and humanize this character a little bit, because different storybooks and different history books will tell you something different. Some are in line with Billy being the hero, some are in line with Pat being the hero. But yeah, what's interesting is the story that I read initially when I was doing my research into it was the it's the book that Pat Garrett wrote, which I think is the authentic life of Billy the Kid, and that's all obviously from Pat Garrett's point of view. So it was someone says, I can't remember who said it, but that history is written by the victors. And as the guy who killed Billy the Kid, he's been able to tell his story. So it was interesting to be a part of taking that into consideration as history, but also history written from a certain point of view.
Sure.
And I wanted to humanize this idea of this very ambitious guy who had, all of this ambition, but no spurs to prick the sides of his intent, you know?
Well, it sounds like maybe you even did a deep dive into Pat's life and his history with Billy before filming to make sure that, you were very accurate as you could be, and maybe the storyline was fairly accurate as well.
Yeah, I mean, with it's what our writer Michael Hurst is so good at is that he takes kind of the coolest bits from history and puts them together and helps retell history in a way that is really exciting. So we take leniencies here and there, um, but yeah, there's a definite, like, relatively truthful character study and exploration of all of these guys, of Jesse Evans, of Pat Garrett, and of Billy the Kid, and just of that time, of that time of America, of the American dream, and yeah, of corruption too.
When I look at the pictures of Pat Garrett and I see your character, it's so similar. What was it like for you seeing yourself fully dressed in cowboy gear with the mustache on for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I grew the mustache, so I was slowly but surely growing this thing, and I was like, looking in the mirror up against Pat Garrett's mustache, and this thing just keeps growing, like it has to get over the top lip and kind of almost touch the bottom lip. The mustaches at that time were really quite something. And I think I was edged on by Tombstone. The actors in
Right.
Tombstone were always talking about how they grew their mustaches, and I was like, I'm gonna do it too. But it was cool. I actually had a series of photos of Pat Garrett that were printed out. I just went to a local place and printed them out. I would take them with me to set, and I would line them up in my trailer and kind of like, look into these photos. And yeah, I mean, I do look a bit like him. So I think, that might have helped me get cast. But yeah, it was interesting to look at the photos before he killed Billy the Kid, and then look at the photos after he killed Billy the Kid. And there's kind of a like a death behind his eyes after he kills Billy the Kid. You know, you'd think that he got his guy, and you think that he would, be way more confident and cooler or whatever. But there was something died in him that day, and that was an interesting thing to explore.
They did have this incredible bond, which is so, he refused to give Billy up while these people come to take him from their custody. He is just, he's really, I think, mourns the loss of Billy once he truly loses him, or supposedly loses him. But what was it like for you and Tom Blythe working out this bond the two of you share on screen?
Yeah, I think there's some really interesting scenes in season two where Billy's trying to reason with Pat, and Billy's just trying to get Pat to come onto the side of good. And I think Pat is, he's kind of blind to this ambition. And I think after a period of time, after the amount of times that Billy gets away, and I think he's losing his own deputies, and he's losing people that are close to him as well, the same way that Billy loses people that are close to him. But I think by the time we're kind of into season three, there's some real animosity there between the two of them, and I think that Pat feels justified at this point in hunting him down. So I think yeah, it really becomes a rivalry rather than and I think the friendship gets further and further away the deeper into that rivalry that they get. They're definitely willing to kill each other, which is, the thing between Jesse Evans and Billy the Kid is that they really kind of can't, they want to kill each other, but they can't kill each other. And I think the different dynamic that Pat brings into this third season, and the different dynamic that Billy and Pat have together, is that they will kill each other. If given the chance, I think they will.
It's really interesting because, I think once the Brady is lost, that's where Pat's switch turns off and he's like, all right, this is no longer a friendship. Billy's crossed a line with me personally and professionally. So to see that change on screen is interesting, but it's beautiful at the end when we see the two of them, in this magnificent fight, where Billy does wind up losing his life. But that's we'll get to that in in a little bit. But this is an
Yeah,
incredible
all that
character.
to look forward to.
I mean, the season is going to play out very historically, and I think that's what a lot of people really appreciate about it, is that I think it may be a little bit even more historical in accuracy than, like say Young Guns, where that's sort of like fantasized a little bit about it. And Emilio Estevez plays Billy the Kid, so brash and so bold. I think there's more of like a
Mhm.
humanity when Tom plays it, and less of like a character, less of a person who is out for like the attention of it all rather than sort of
Right.
anything else of it all. And I think that's wonderful. And
Definitely
certainly,
the Yeah, so yeah, the way that Tom plays it is, it's with he's got a glint in his eye too, a twinkle in his eye, but yeah, it's less of yeah, there's less posturing that goes on, and more survival, and more this connection to trying to do the right thing, which I think is, a new take on the Billy the Kid story for sure.
was there
Sorry,
sort
I
of,
interrupted you there.
it's okay.
I was so agreeing with you that I interrupted you.
With this change in the relationship between Billy and Pat, was there sort of a distance that you and Tom set between each other to sort of have this boundary up now that you guys are on the opposite sides of this friendship?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're, but I don't think either of us would say that we were method actors necessarily. But
Okay.
there's definitely, there's elements of that are always going to creep in. And I think, me and Tom are great friends. We go surfing together, and yeah, we got a really good bond. But in shooting separate, our storylines are so separate from each other. We're both, either chasing each other or running from each other, or whichever one it is. So you end up spending a little bit less time with each other. So kind of naturally, you guys end up kind of being, on while we're filming it, we become slightly more separate, just naturally. Uh, but yeah, I mean, we still reply to each other's texts and stuff. It didn't go that far.
Okay, so it wasn't like you guys were, you know, we get you weren't at odds
Yeah,
on
we could have
off
been in the
screen.
same room together. We just fight. Yeah.
No, no, no. More so, I was just saying, like, was there sort of um, a distance because you guys are filming separately now, and there's this line drawn between you on screen. So I didn't know if you guys sort of separated and sort of spent some time apart from each other to sort of, distance yourselves from that friendship, on-screen friendship, more than, be having real life animosity for one another
Yes.
based on these
Yeah.
parts, thankfully. Um, what were some of your
Yes.
favorite
Yeah.
scenes to shoot for this series? There's so many wild adventures.
I mean, every day that you're getting on a horse and you've got that bond that you have with your horse. We use one or two horses for the whole season. So, I mean, every day doing that is, it's just such a beautiful experience. And I grow this sheriff's posse. So we've got a lot of scenes together, and me and those guys got pretty close. A lot of them are, you know, bull riders and bronc riders and steer rope, but these guys are the real deal. So, I've got to try and match up to their level of skill when we're riding into these places. And yeah, there was a real like a real bond that was connected. We do a little gambling at lunch, play some cards, and yeah, yeah, great group of guys. So I think all of those days were super super fun. I mean, you're riding full pelt, just like across some of the most beautiful terrain as a group of 20 horses. So it's just like it really is a dream, that stuff.
Have you kept anything with you, any mementos from your time as Pat Garrett?
Yeah, I mean those guys I was talking about, they're stunt guys, they're actors too, but yeah, one of the guys, Pete is his name, and he actually made me a leather belt. He's a leather worker, so I've got
Cool.
that. And then luckily, the guy who kind of owns all of the horses and actually has the ranch that we do a lot of shooting on, he gave us a belt buckle that says Billy the Kid on it. So yeah, I've got
Hold
this
on to
this
that.
belt. Yeah.
One of a
Yeah, I mean,
kind
beautiful, an
indeed.
amazing gift. Yeah. So that, I'm trying to get that thing framed, and I'll put it up in my office or something.
Okay, this is the final season. What have you personally taken away from your time working on this incredible series? Besides learning how to maybe ride a
Uh,
horse, some better
yeah,
gambling skills, but obviously
yeah,
friendships are there as well.
yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, even away from what the characters taught me, I think what I've learned through Pat Garrett, definitely in this exploration of ambition, is that blind ambition won't get you anywhere. And I think I knew that before, but I think that's part of the lesson really with Pat Garrett. It's like even when you get what you want, even when in history he killed Billy the Kid, it didn't it it didn't match up to. I don't think. I didn't speak to him about it, but I don't think it matched up to what he thought maybe it would make him feel, or what it would get him in life. And then apart from anything, going and shooting out in Calgary with all of these real rodeo people, people that are like, really living this Western life and want to be around horses and stuff every day. Just the joy that they get from that and how they position their lives around being able to do that rather than I think sometimes in the Hollywood world it's a little more about like stacking cash, but yeah, these guys are a little more yeah, a little more my style, a little more my speed and way of living.
What's next for you? Have you been busy working on some other projects recently?
Yeah, I've got a movie that comes out. I don't know when this is going to be released, but it's out today, October 3rd, all
Ooh,
over the US. It's a horror movie called Bone Lake, and it's like a psychosexual thriller,
oof.
and it's a lot of fun. It's like a shout at the screen, go and see it with a cinema full of people kind of movie. And yeah, so that's exciting for me to have these two things out at the same time. And yeah, just I want to keep playing different characters and, you know, do different genres of movies. And all the actors that I look up to are able to, lead movies across different genres. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the incredible work you do on our screen? Certainly, Billy the Kid is just an outstanding project for you.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, we wouldn't be here without the fans. As far as we've made it all through to the final season. This was always going to be hope was always intended to be this this 3 season look into this guy's life, and yeah, it's changed my life and playing this character and meeting the people that I've met, and we're all really grateful and fortunate that this fan base has grown in the way that it has. And I hope you guys will watch it again. And yeah, I'll be watching alongside you. Yeah, I love this show. Yeah, it's something that I'm really proud to be part of.
I mean, you should. The physical toll, not just the incredible embodiment you put into these characters. You absolutely give it head to toe, Alex, in this role. It's so incredible the work you've put into the series. All of you just embody these people so well. And I was looking at their pictures, and as I said, you look so much like Pat. Tyler looks so much like Billy. It's just incredible. The embodiment, like I said, the physical aspects you all put in. You grew a mustache, whereas people could have just used a little glue here or there. You were, talk
Yeah,
about
I
not being
I just
method.
knew I couldn't I knew I couldn't ride in with all of these like these real rodeo dudes with a flapping mustache coming off on one side. Yeah, I grew quite attached to it. It took me a while to take it off.
Well, I mean, you're looking at yourself, I'm sure, differently in the mirror with it on, and once it's gone, I mean, it must have been. Is that what how you slipped out of him for the final time? Is shaving the mustache? You said goodbye to him in that way?
Yeah, yeah, it helps. It definitely helps because these characters they do stay with you for sure, and you shoot them for 6 months at a time, and like actually being able to do that physical thing of taking the moustache off definitely did it did help.
Well, you're so good in this series, and I'm sure people tell you that all the time.
Thank you. Say it. I wish they'd say it more. No, I'm kidding. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment.